Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you a review of the new Park Avenue Princess Chisel palette from Tarte. I'm also going to be demoing this palette on my face today, so if you're interested in this new contour palette from Tarte, then just keep on watching. So Tarte just released their Park Avenue Princess Chisel palette at Ulta and Tarte online for $46. And they have had contour palettes in the past. They still have them. But this is one that's more like traditional in its layout, just like a Kat Von D contour kit, some other contour palettes. This one does have the matte highlight shades, and then you have 4 contour shades. So each of the pans are actually huge. They're 4.5 grams each, so you have a lot of product to work with. And if you guys look at it, like, it's not a huge range of colors with the contour shades especially. So this is more suited for like light to medium skin tones, even if you're really fair. A lot of these would be kind of dark. Even the highlight shades would be kind of dark. And if you have a medium to deep complexion, a lot of these shades will not work on you. They would barely work as contour shades. So for sure that's a con with this palette because it is pretty limited in its color range. All of these are pretty much very similar. They just have different undertones. So I feel like because they have 4 different bronzer or contour shades, they could have definitely added some more variety in there. They had some more room to work with 4 shades, but it is pretty limited to light to medium skin tone, so that is definitely a con. So it does work for me for my complexion, and I'm like NC25 and MAC, but if you're more deeper or really fair, a lot of these shades will not work, I don't think. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch them, and I'll let you guys know how I feel about the formula and everything once I get into the demo. And I'm gonna start off with the highlight shades. So the 2 highlight shades are matte. You have Halo. This is like a peachy tone. This is something I like to use for like the center of my face or even under my eyes. It's not like too peachy or red or anything. It's not a very strong undertone. And then Enhance is more of a yellow tone. And I really like that it's not like super yellow where it's gonna look really stark under your eyes. So that is what I use to set my under eyes today. And then Halo, I use this down the center of my face. And you guys can see like they're not really harsh colors, but they are pretty light. The next, my favorite contour shade is Carrot. This is more of a cool tone, like olivey shade. And it's not too deep either. So if you're not into like really strong contour, this would be a really nice shade because it's more of like a natural tone on me, especially. Maybe if you're fair, this would show up like pretty dramatic and still look good, but on me this is like a more natural contour shade. Next we have the shade Princess Cut, which is more of a bronzer tone. It's a bit more warm, but it's still not like super warm. It's like just warm enough where it's not going to look orange or muddy. You can still contour with this shade, but it's definitely more warm than the shade Carrot above it. And then we have the shade Angle, and this is definitely more warm. It's the most warm shade in the palette. It's a little bit deeper than the shade above it, but the shade still looks really natural where it's not going to look orange on your skin tone or anything. It's still a little bit of an olivey shade. And then the deepest shade in this palette is Crown, and this is more of like a cool tone kind of olive shade that is good for contouring as well, especially on more medium complexions. So those are all 6 shades in the palette, and definitely let me know what you guys think. I'll insert a close-up as well so you can really see the colors. But don't all of the contour shades just look so similar? They're like a shade off from each other. So that's what really throws me off with this palette, is that all 4 of the contour and bronzer shades are pretty similar, especially these 3. They're just like as dark as each other. They just have slightly different undertones, and even the darkest shade, like the most deep color, is not that much deeper than like the lighter tones. They don't like, there's not a big variety in there. And with some of my other contour kits, like the Anastasia one or the Lorac one, the difference between the light shade and the darkest shade are pretty different. So you can just mix them together and like kind of customize your own shade. So I am like kind of confused as to why they have like 4 shades that are fairly similar in this palette. They definitely could have done just 3 bronzer contour shades and added in a shimmer highlight. I would feel like this palette is a lot more complete with another highlight, a shimmer highlight in here, or a shimmery bronzer, just some kind of other bronzer tone in here, because I feel like I'm definitely missing a shade in this palette. So I definitely have mixed feelings about this palette, but I'm going to go ahead into the demo so you guys can see how it applies and how I like the formula and how I like to use all of the shades. Alright, so going in with the palette, I'm just going to start off by contouring my cheekbones, and I like to use the shade Carrot to contour my cheekbones. These 2 I like to use for bronzer. This I can use as a contour as well, but it's a little deeper if I want something more dramatic. So I'm going in with Carrot and a Sonia Kashuk brush in the number 113. You can get this at Target. I've been using it for years. So I'm just going to take in a little bit of this shade, and it's a really silky color, so it's really easy to blend out. And so far, all I have on my face is foundation, concealer, and just a setting powder, so there's no like definition to my face yet. And I think I'll do half of my face and then do the rest of my face afterwards so you guys can see the difference. And I feel like you can already see a huge difference on this side. I didn't put it on my jawline yet, but especially my cheekbone, you can see a huge difference between each side of my face. Like this is actually a really nice color. I need to blend it out a little bit more on my forehead, but I'll go over that once I apply the bronzer shade too. Alright, so here's one side of my face just with a contour powder and then nothing on the other side. I feel like there's definitely a lot more dimension and it still looks pretty natural. It's a little bit harsh just because it's a cooler tone, so once I add the bronzer color, it's going to look a lot more glowy. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side of my face. And it's like really quick and easy to apply because it's not patchy. And the powder isn't, it doesn't look like a powder. Like it actually blends and melts onto your skin, which of course I always like with any powder product. So there's just the contour shade all over my face. I'm going to apply a tiny bit to my nose. I don't contour my nose anymore. I don't even know if I remember how to do this because it's been months, but I just want to add a little bit so I can show you guys what it could potentially look like if you do contour your nose. I have literally not done this since like maybe April. I'm just like very chill about contouring in general. Yeah, I really like this shade because it's more cool. I'm just going to blend that out with a bigger brush. I'm just using a stipple brush from e.l.f., the small stipple brush, to diffuse out the color a little bit. But I really like this shade. And then I'm just going to clean it up with the lighter tones before I add the bronzer. So I'm just going to take Enhance. I'm actually going to set my eyes with this shade. I did set my eyes with a translucent powder, but I just want to apply this shade because I always go in with a shade like this, either from an eyeshadow palette or a contour kit before I start off my shadows, so none of the veins on my eyes pop through. And I'm just going to take a little bit under my eyes. I don't want to add like too much coverage. And then I'm just going to take a little of Enhance and Halo, which is like that pinker tone. They're very similar. And just clean up my jawline, or where I contoured. And I'll just take those same two shades a little bit on the center of my forehead to add a little extra highlight. It's almost like a setting powder, just like maybe a shade lighter on me, so it's not like too dramatic. Then I'm taking my buildable cheek brush from Smashbox. I'm gonna mix together Princess Cut and Angle, which are both a little bit of a bronzy tone, and just apply that like lightly on top. I don't want too much product, and I never really like contour my forehead anymore, so seeing product on my forehead is weird to me right now, but I want to show you guys just like how to do it everywhere on your face and not just my minimal usual self. I like to do this with any powder product that I use. I just take my stipple powder brush and just kind of diffuse it out. I feel like that helps it look a lot more natural. And on my cheeks and everything, it looks good already. There's no patchiness. So there we are. I used all but one shade. The shade Crown, I'm not going to use it too often unless I want like a super contoured, like really intense look. It's not like super deep. It is pretty dark, but it's still like wearable on me. It's more like of an olivey tone. So what I would normally do is maybe mix like a little tiny dot of this with Carrot if I want something more dramatic, but I don't think I would go in with this on its own because otherwise I get like a very harsh look for me for like what I prefer. So I really like the shades in here for my complexion. I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the rest of my makeup and finish up with all my final thoughts. All right, so overall I really like the formula. I really like how it applies. I really like all the shades on my complexion. But I do think that this palette is pretty limited to light to medium complexions because all the bronzer shades are pretty similar in how deep they are. But overall, I really like the formula. If you guys like these shades, I do recommend it. If you're not into mattes and these light colors, you probably won't like this palette. So it's definitely not a universal palette, but for me, I am gonna keep it. One thing to keep in mind too, this is a very heavy palette compared to some of my other contour kits like the Anastasia one, the Lorac one. I don't have the Kat Von D one, but that one is very similar where it's more lightweight and like a cardboard packaging. The packaging on this is pretty like dense. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't know if I would feel comfortable traveling with this because of like the bulkier packaging. It is really pretty packaging, but it's not convenient for on the go. It's more of a metal finish. It's not plastic, so it's kind of heavy. If you guys want to keep that in mind, if you like to travel with your contour kits, I always bring a contour kit whenever I'm traveling, and this is something I would probably leave behind because I would be afraid that this would like shatter or something. So the packaging's just a little bit bulky for me, but it is really pretty if you just like keep it on home and you don't travel with it. Alright guys, so those are my thoughts on the new Chisel palette from Tarte. I kind of knew I was going to be a little bit hesitant on it when I saw the pictures of it originally, but I still wanted to try it out, and I'm glad that the formula is really good. It does have that like chocolatey scent like some of the Tarte palettes, which I really like too. So I do like the formula a lot. I just wish there was some other something in there, like a deeper color or just a shimmer bronzer or highlight shade as well. So definitely let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Let me know if you picked it up in the comments too. And if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.